met with Gary West and we talked about what it takes to be a top seller. Let me start out first by telling a story about Henry Kissinger and an experience he had with a young assistant back in the 70s when he was Secretary of State for President Richard Nixon. So this assistant came in and delivered a paper to Mr. Kissinger, and Mr. Kissinger said, "Hey, is this the best you can do?" And so the young assistant thought, I'll take the paper back and I'll go work on it. And he worked on it, brought it back to Mr. Kissinger, and Mr. Kissinger asked, "Is this the best you can do?" And again, the young assistant thought, maybe I should improve what I've written. So he took the paper, went back to his desk, came back a while later, and said, "Here's my paper." Mr. Kissinger said, "Is this the best you can do?" And now the young man is feeling nervous, anxious, because he's wondering, have I not done the best I can do? And then he replied, "Yes, this is the best I can do." And then Mr. Kissinger said, "Great, then I'll read your paper." And so the question is, we started out the module is, are we doing the best that we can do? Are we doing the best that we can do at everything in our life? For this segment, let's talk about, are we doing the best that we can do for selling, sales, achieving results, and things like that. Part of this whole thing was the Galatea effect, which is really us being able to rise to the occasion, to become our best self, and to achieve results because we think we can achieve results. There's no point in us trying stuff if we don't think that we can succeed. Now, that doesn't always mean that we are going to succeed, in my own opinion, in terms of like, if I think it, it'll happen. Well, you can think stuff and plan accordingly, and then it will happen eventually. If you're a famous athlete, you are going to fail on many occasions. You might miss the final shot. You might strike out on the last pitch and not be able to drive in a run. But if you go back and practice, you're going to have a shot again to succeed. And that's kind of why we're here in terms of sales, because we're not going to be able to succeed every time, but the point is we want to succeed most of the time. So in this, they listed 12 attributes of successful salespeople or top sellers. That's a long list. I'm not going to go through the list, but I'm going to talk about a few of these attributes. And the first one is a passion for working and selling. You have to like what you do. You have to like what you've been asked to do. You have to have a passion for it. What does that mean in terms of selling? Well, a passion for me, at least, is believing in what I'm selling and practicing my craft, if you will, in terms of selling, learning how to engage in conversations, asking questions, and things like that. It's also important, if you have a passion, to be curious about getting new business, to be curious about perhaps a new company that comes to the forefront, or new things that are happening, new trends, new opportunities. Recently, we found that they're building an inland port down in Spanish Fork. It was approved and it's going to start happening. There's about 2,200 acres down there. That is something that you can be curious about and then go forth, in my case, find out who the players are, what opportunities can be had, and then go about doing the work of research and then meeting with people and having an opportunity to bid on some projects, etc. There has to be a sense of urgency to what you're doing. If I hear about something and I just leave it to itself, that's exactly what's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. And so if someone is on the job site, let's say a super or a foreman, and someone comes by and asks us about the project and who we are, and they say, "I've got some other stuff," well, that foreman or super should call their division manager or the project manager or myself and say, "Hey, I think I have a lead for you." And then it's my job to quickly follow up on that lead. Also with this is an opportunity to be assertive. Now, nobody likes a pushy or bossy person. We think of the used car salesman. I can remember the movie Breaking Away, where literally the guy is pushing an old Cadillac off the lot to the guy that says, "I changed my mind, I've changed my mind." And he's literally pushing it to him into the road. It makes him take the Cadillac. And that's kind of being maybe over assertive. But when you want to be assertive, you want to be exact, be timely, and push a little bit. You want to ask questions. If they say no, you want to say, "Well, Is there something else that's on your plate? Is there something else that's coming down the pike? Things like that. And so that's important to do as well. One of the attributes I try to work on for myself is having perseverance. In other words, I don't ever give up, because a lot of the developers that we work with, the pie is really big. They have lots of opportunities. So the door may shut for one opportunity, but it's going to open again for some other opportunities. And if we persevere in building the relationship and asking questions and really hunting down opportunities, then we'll get an opportunity to bid on a project and win a project. I think perseverance is really a great attribute from a sales point of view, and an attribute that we take some practice, because it's easy to take no for an answer. It's easy to just kind of look the other way and forget about it. But be timely and never give up. Those are some of the 12 attributes. I covered, I think, 4 or 5 of them. But also there's 10 Rainmaker principles. The Rain Group is what we're part of. And rain obviously means that things are falling from the sky. Rain, which nourishes stuff. When we say we want to make it rain, we want to make things happen. And so these are a lot of principles. Again, 10 of them. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'll go through a few of them. So be a deep generalist. That means you kind of know a little bit about everything, and you can talk to the person on the other side of the table or in a conversation about lots of things. It doesn't mean you have to be an expert about all things, but you have to be knowledgeable about what you're talking about and be able to hold a conversation. You need to know enough to be able to talk the language of the person that you're working with. I like the fact that you have to take action. And these are not in order, but do something. Write goals down and then do them. It will never happen if you don't do anything. And it's okay to do something, and if the result isn't good, that's okay. You've got to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. I always call that throwing darts. And some of you will like that analogy because we have a little dart contest at work. If you throw darts, you're going to make a lot of misses. You might hit the side and it'll fall to the side, but you'll eventually hit a bullseye. But if you never throw a single dart, you will never hit a bullseye. And so I like that principle. I use that a lot in my own thinking. Play to win. Our whole focus here is to play to win, to get the opportunity to bid on work, to win work, and to build something for someone. And then, of course, to do another project after that and another. So I don't make calls just to make calls. I make calls with the goal and the desire to make something happen that leads to a positive outcome. And finally, be brave. Hey, I'm just like anybody else. I get nervous in a crowd. I don't always like to talk to someone that I may not know. I may be intimidated, but I always have this idea that if I can just talk to one person in a room and connect with them, maybe that will lead to something. And I say to myself, people are all the same. It's okay to be nervous. Just go in there and take a deep breath and then talk to people and use your charm. Now, I say use your charm in a general way. What I mean by that is we all have skills and we can all talk to people in a way where we can connect with them. So do that. Be comfortable in your own skin. Don't try to be someone else. Just go for it. And so we have 12 attributes of a successful salesperson. And we also have 10 Rainmaker principles. This is fun stuff. It's not always easy. I don't know if there's anybody that has all 12 attributes. I know I don't, but I know there's plenty of room for improvement.